Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, whatever the case might be. My name is Manish Sharma, and I'm the host for the webinar today for you. I'm very excited here to talk about, um, you know, how using Microsoft Teams today companies are changing how they engage their employees, and the webinar is going to cover a lot of why and a little bit of how. So hopefully that'll give you enough information to go ahead and think about how you can transform your enterprises and how you can how and why your enterprises need can look at everything about employee enablement in a different way. So welcome to the webinar again. So a lot of things are changing, right? I'm sure all of us have kind of noticed a lot of things around us have changed in last couple of years. Goes without saying, and all of us have responded to that change in some way or the other. But how are enterprises responding to changes in employee enablement and employee support model? There is a question here. So one of the change obviously is remote work, but the continuation of remote work, right? There will be in future. We do expect all of us that some percentage of our employees will continue to work from home forever, and some will work from home partially and come to offices and all that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, I just discovered, I was told by a few customers recently, they are experiencing a new phenomena called pandemic hires, right? These are people who have joined the company during the pandemic, and they have never met anyone else in the company, and they never have an opportunity to go to offices and mingle and say hello and stop by that person's desk or spend their time with that person, nothing like that. So now the pandemic hires are around, in a typical company might be around 10, 12% today. But as the time goes on, pandemic hires will become, maybe 30% or 40% of the hires. Just imagine one third of your company are those people who have never met anyone in the company. How difficult is that going to be in terms of making sure that you support them, they have everything that they need to do their jobs, they know what are the policies, the culture of the company, and so on and so forth. So there are some very big challenges for all of us as we keep going down this road. As a matter of fact, I got this quote from someone in on LinkedIn. Actually, someone was connected to me, and she said, well, earlier we used to have foosball table and catered food and whatnot, but all those is gone. What you need today is to provide employees the right tools so that they can continue to work and feel great about themselves. Because if the employees are, don't have the right tools, they're going to get frustrated and they will feel disconnected, disassociated, and then they'll say, this is not a right place for me to work, and they're going to move. So this is becoming very, very critical aspect of what we are trying to as a company should be trying to think about and do. Gartner, of course, feels that a lot of companies will allow their employees to work remotely. I think all of us kind of know that. Second change that is happening obviously during this pandemic is the collaborative tools, whether it's Teams, which is collaborative tools of choice for a lot of people, or even others like Zoom or Skype or Slack or whatever. Everyone, all of us know that we are using that more. Intuitively, we know. As a matter of fact, we estimate based on our surveys that Teams is today the top three app that any employee is using during their daytime, right? So if they're in their work day, they're working on it. Teams is among the three apps that they're using, top three apps to get their work done. And that's amazing, isn't it? Teams was not there before the pandemic. As a matter of fact, the data point shows, when we started before July, June, April of last year, uh, Teams was used by around 30 million people or so, 30, 40 million, something like that. And right now it is being used by, estimated to be used by upwards of 175 million people every day. And that is a huge number, right? And that's increasing every day. So just imagine, that's a change that as managers, all of us need to know this is happening. I think we are aware about this. We already know that we ourselves are using Teams. But then the question becomes, what is the implication of that, right? What else can Teams be used for? How can we make our processes more efficient? How can we provide better support over Teams? That's a next logical question that all of us need to ask. The third change is it's very subtle, this change. And the change is that at home we are using Google Home and Alexa and whatnot, and we are using you know Uber to travel and Ola to travel, and all these are subtle changes which make us more technology savvy and our hunger for technology a little bit more as individuals, right? And the funny thing is, earlier our corporate life and our individual lives are way apart, right? At least 1 hour commute apart, let me put it that way. But not anymore, right? You work from where you live. So your expectation silently about what kind of technology you expect at workplace has increased. It has. And therefore, if the enterprises don't change what they do, the employees base is going to be asking, am I working for the right company? Their processes suck, I cannot get anything done, and so on and so forth. So that's a big challenge. um, you know uh, uh, of course, the number of companies that expect AI and quality to improve is high. um, the next change is automation need. Now this is interesting. um, Automation needs is one of those constants that I've seen in last 20 years. Always a hunger for automation, right? And never we have been satisfied as individuals, as enterprises, with the level of automation that we have. The interesting thing is the automation used to be difficult, right? And by the way, what this slide is saying is whether it's a bull market or bear market. That means whether economy is doing great, your company is doing great, or company is doing, is in a little bit of challenging time. Either way, you are going to, ask for, automation. Either way, because this is a need in all of us where we say, can this thing be done better? Can we do it faster? Can this be automated and my employee doesn't have to do it? No matter what our circumstances, all of us are asking that question. And the only change that has happened here is, 5 years ago, the automation was difficult, right? There was, you have to buy a BPM tool, and, it will be standalone, it'll be expensive, it'll be automation meant long projects and experimentation and so on and so forth. So that was the expectation when you were doing automation. You knew 3 out of 4 projects actually will succeed, and 25% projects might not even see the light of the day. But now it has changed. And now, especially post RPA, a lot of people expect easy automation, bite sized automation, something that can be done quickly. You can view the results quickly. And that expectation has changed. And that's one of the forces of change. People are actually saying that we need automation, but not only we need automation, but we need simple automation. You know, companies will continue to look to lower their cost no matter where they are. In India, for example, one would assume that employee cost is still not that high, but still I've found this amazing, you know, hunger for automation even in India. The fourth thing is the changes, forces of changes, how people view service desk, right? And this is something that, you know, I think the whole service desk industry has you know, struggled over last 20 years. You know, there's a IT help desk, and there's a HR help desk, and there is maybe a finance or facilities help desk. All those help desks are different. They are they belong to different you know, maybe they have different backend system. How you approach them is different. How you can get help is different. Everything about, so there's no unified help desk, right? You have fragmented help desk experience for employees, and you need to remember how to reach out one and how what works out in help desk A, but in case of help desk B, how the experience will be, it might be different, right? All that actually creates clutter in the mind of the employee, a clutter that they do not need and cannot deal with, to be honest. And what happens, because when we create that clutter, they react in the way where, you know, they don't do self-service and whatnot, right? So so this is the big change that is coming, where increasingly enterprises are going to simplify how they provide support for the employees, and it will be a single window of support. There is no need to have 5 windows of support. In the back end, of course, you can have, you know, 5 different set of, you know, teams supporting the employees. But as far as the employee is concerned, what is the need to confuse the employee in saying there are 5 different ways you have to reach out to us, or this is help desk A and this is help desk B? For them, it can be removed. All this complexity can be removed from them, and that's what they're looking for. You know, the other thing that I'm going to skip over that thing. So these were the forces of change, right? And now we are going to see what is the change that they have created, right? 5 forces of change that I talked about today. But what is the change that they're creating in employee support and you know, everywhere? Let's look at that. So one, and this was one of the key topics that was written in the agenda of the webinar, that employee productivity depends on, in our opinion, depends on 3 things. One is outstanding employee support. That means you do need to provide an amazing level of support to employees. As a matter of fact, we consider this an almost like a hygiene issue, as they call it. That means if you cannot provide support to your employees, right? If they are worried about their payroll issue, or they're worried about the laptop, you know, like I am, laptop key not working, my laptop key, one of the keys is not working well. So I'm worried about that right now. So if you're worried about things that stop you from working, right? Those are the key things that will reduce your productivity. So employee providing outstanding employee support, not an average support, not you know, okay, you know what, we are providing, you know, it's a little bit of a struggle, but we are providing. No, that won't work. Outstanding employee support is key to employee productivity. Second key, by the way, is access to right information at the right time. This is very critical, and I'm going to spend a, you know, few seconds on that. So where is your enterprise knowledge, if I may ask, you know, the attendees, where is your enterprise knowledge kept? Is it in SharePoint? But SharePoint is a document management system, right? It's not same as enterprise knowledge. Is it in the head of some people? Is it you know, is it spread out throughout the organizations in different documents that people have stored somewhere? Where is your enterprise knowledge? And that is a key question. And surprising that a lot of us don't have answer to that. A lot of us don't have answer to that. Like if a person is trying to do some job and they need some information. Where do they store these files, or how do I connect to this system, or I'm trying to do this in Tableau, but I don't know what is our standard, colors that we use, and what is the branding colors, right? I don't know. All kind of questions that we come across when we start our workday, right? Where is that database, right? How do I connect? Whatever questions you might have. My question is to you guys: where is this information stored? And I'll tell you, 8 out of 10 times people come and say, well, I have a little bit of IT information stored here, and marketing stores information there, but I don't know about the rest really. I really don't know, right? And that is a big problem, right? How do you expect new people who are coming into your company to understand, where this information is and how to use this information and be productive? And do you expect people to stop what they're doing and search all the information all the time? So long story short, access to right information at the right time is critical to employee productivity. And something which is we all have conveniently ignored for a long time. We cannot ignore that anymore. That time is over. Third is ability to upskill or learn, right? Uh, can organizations change, their policies change, their maybe applications change, their business policies change, their HR policy might change, a lot of things change, right? Like infosec policies might change. How are we training people? How are we even upskilling people? How are we upgrading people's information? How are we taking the flock in the direction that we need to take in, so that all of us are on the same page and doing what we need to do, right? If I'm a sales leader, how am I training my employees on the new great idea that I had last week, right? All this is again very fickle. So this is now a push by enterprise leaders or people, employees even, to other employees of information. How do we do that? What is the channel for that? And I'll tell you, that is again a very, very weak link in enterprise productivity today. You don't have that. So these three, you might have learning management systems, sure, but learning management systems are stodgy. It takes time to create content. They are not fast. They don't take feedback well enough from the trainee. There's a bunch of things wrong with that. There's another webinar about that I'm doing in a couple of weeks. You should look that up. But these are the three critical things which you need for employee productivity. And I believe, and we believe, that Microsoft Teams and Resolve products like ours are making a whole lot of difference in how you handle these three things. So the new service delivery model, and we are going to now go towards the solutioning part of it, right? Is changing. This was an old one. We all know that employee comes by email, employee comes by phone. Most likely, 80% of the time, they're going to come by email and phone, by the way. 20% of the time, they're very nice. Or if you're forcing them to, they might create a ticket in the ticketing system. And then starts the back and forth of email and phone. Hey, you called me, but you send us an email, but the email doesn't have complete information. We are trying to chase you to find out the complete information. Sure. Oh, I'm L1, I cannot help your problem. I kept the problem with me for 10 hours, but now I figured I cannot help you. Now I'm going to move on to L2. Sure. So all those are the problems of old service delivery model. This is the traditional service delivery model. This has been around for 20 years. This is not the future of service desk, clearly. As a matter of fact, these multiple service desks that we had, and the fragmentation that we had, and all the self-service assets that we created but were never used, are kind of result of this traditional siloed service desk. But in future, and future is now, welcome to the future, you will have a single window, right? Like I was saying, and we call that AI driven enterprise service management, AIESM. That's what we call it. So employees will be able to go to a single window and get help, right? The getting help might be, they will have access to the knowledge management, enterprise knowledge management. The enterprise can push small micro learning to them, so that they can get upgraded, etc., etc. You want something from SharePoint? Sure, you can just ask the chatbot, and Chatbot will figure out what it is from SharePoint that you want. You want different kind of tickets, it'll be able to create different kind of tickets. You don't have to go to different places. You're trying to figure out how to self-service. All self-service assets are right here through the same window. You're looking at rules, HR rules, policies, sure, no problem. You are trying to capture, and there's a way to capture the organizational unstructured knowledge and tribal knowledge, absolutely. So now the employee has the right tools to do what they need to do to be productive, and they know where to come for help, right? Whatever kind of help it is. The broad thing is, if you need help, come to Resolve or come to Teams, and you're going to get help. And that's a beautiful message, by the way, to give to the employees. In the back end, you have SMEs. We call agent SMEs, subject matter experts, sitting and helping each queue. There's new task automation and new process automation that you can build. And using APIs, you can connect to anything else in the enterprise. So, we can double click on the model, but essentially there's a bot or a virtual assistant on Teams, which is going to help, which is going to understand, first of all, what the users are saying, get all the help, get all the information, like if it needs additional information to provide an answer, it will get additional information. It'll auto resolve the issue if possible, and then you know bring in the expert. It has live chat capability, right? So if, let's say, if there's a payroll issue which is considered too sensitive, right? Or if it's a VIP on the line, let's say the CFO of the company is on the line, and you don't want him or her to figure out. So all those kind of scenario can automatically be escalated to a human agent, right? And by the way, the virtual assistant will create tickets, update tickets. Guess what we call a ticketing system? In our case, ticketing system, we call a ticketing system an invisible ticketing system. So the employee doesn't even have to know that there's a ticketing system in the backend. As far as they're concerned, they came, they chatted with the VA, and the VA virtual assistant took care of things, right? As simple as that. And within 10 to 15 seconds, they got their issue resolved. That's the metrics that we follow. So clearly, AI is going to be part of the solution. I told you about the service desk kind of scenario, but there's more, right? Like micro learning piece. We also have a micro learning bit in our product, but you can have now push content to people on Teams so that they can learn. And this is all AI driven. You can create and share knowledge, like I was saying in the knowledge management part. You can accomplish small everyday tasks, right? You want to add someone to a deal, you want to book an appointment with your colleague, things of that nature are all getting automated. You don't need to figure things out. Things should be figured out for you. You want to get help, you want to collaborate, you want to automate. All this is based on a conversational AI, and it's getting simpler and simpler. Front end looks in Teams, right? Like something like this. Of course, there can be other channels as well, but we as a company are very focused on Teams, so it looks something like this. You can get onboard employees. You can provision new employee. You can have the bot answer their questions. You can have bot perform some small task. Bot can bring information from SharePoint. All that kind of things are built in within the this interface. And the automation is getting simpler as a reaction to the need from the market. The automation is getting simpler. It's a small projects. It's decentralized. That means a lot many more people can now do automation. So if there's a business analyst sitting in finance, right, and they want to automate something, they should be able to automate that. It doesn't need to be a multi-year contract for that to do that. It should be simpler, easy. And by the way, another way to look at it is automation is not just um, process and task automation. We are changing the game and saying knowledge automation is also automation, right? Ability to provide the right answer at the right time is also automation, right? Because solving a whole lot of trouble down the lane. So that is being acknowledged as a automation as well. And no code, low code, right? So everything has to be nowadays. It does not have to be complicated, so drag and drops, right? Those are the ways the new automation is happening. And by the way, approval, workflow approval, right? Just imagine a scenario, you can get approval over Teams. So imagine a scenario where you are, you know, sending. sending an request of some kind, which needs an approval, let's say from IT service desk manager. I'm just saying, but it could be anyone else in the organization. And that approval reaches to, you create just a request to the bot, and the approval reaches to the service desk manager in Teams, and they say, oh, looks like I need to approve something. Boom, approve, done. So that is the level of workflow automation that that is already happening. And that is changing how enterprises are looking at workflow altogether. And finally, we talked a little bit about metrics in the beginning, but remember the traditional service desk has traditional metrics, right? Cost per contact, CSAT, agent utilization, first contact resolution rate, you know, and some of these are really um, changing because we are changing how service desk behave. So, for example, in a service desk which is based on AI driven service desk, the first contact resolution rate is not that important. And you're going to say why? Because first contact is going to happen over Teams, and it is going to get done within seconds, and people's issues will be registered within seconds. So is this KPI meaningful at all in future? We don't think so, right? Because typically in the traditional service desk, first contact was important. Ability for you to pick up the phone when the issue happened and even register that yes, I acknowledge your issue, was it used to take sometime hours to do that, right? And that is changing. It's no longer no longer an issue of um, how much how long will it take to first contact happens within seconds. Boom, done, not a problem. So this is perhaps not the metrics that you're going to measure. There are a lot many here. So I have actually written a blog about it. If someone is interested, we can send it to you. But there is a whole new metrics out there now, right? For example, one metrics is in how many times, what percentage of time is your bot actually escalating to human, right? Is it 30? Is it 40? Is it 50, 70? Right? And that tells you how smart your bot is. What is the accuracy of your AI? Is your AI being understood, AI understanding the issue 60% of the time, 70, 100, 99, right? These are the new metrics which matter. And when we actually go into implementations, we help our clients understand the importance of the new metrics so that they can understand that there's a new service delivery model, and how we look at the metrics has to change. Because again, some of these metrics that I showed you have been there for 20 years. So when the service delivery model is changing, and it is, then the metrics also change with it. So some of them are old, like MTTR is not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay. Agent job satisfaction is not going to go anywhere. This is important. CSAT is not going anywhere. That's important. But, you know, cost per ticket, we are saying change, and instead of saying cost per contact, because not every contact will be with the human agent, right? Change it to cost per ticket. So there's a lot going on here. It's a topic by itself, and we should kind of talk about that. All right. So hopefully this gave you a good idea about a new service delivery model that is emerging, how to engage employees, how to upskill them, how to support them. What we didn't cover today was how to, for example, in greater detail, was how to upskill them, how to train them using AI. How does the support and training and knowledge management work together? We can cover that in more detail again, or feel free to book a meeting with us. But meanwhile, I'm open to any questions from the attendees. I'll welcome any questions. I see one question that has already come in. The question is, we are talking about changing the complete service desk. Can you briefly talk about the implementation timeline? Well, um, surprisingly, right? We are surprisingly or non-surprisingly, I don't know. We are not looking at everything as these long, big projects, right? So implementation for projects such as products such as ours can be done in weeks. So in 2 weeks you can go live. In 3 weeks you can go live. The implementation also is a journey, right? You don't build all the automation on day one. It's not possible, right? So we clearly see that as a journey. You get started within 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and then you build more automation over a period of time, and continue to build that automation muscle within your organization over a period of time. Any other questions? I know there's some people from HR also who have joined today. I'm a very interesting list of people who joined today. So first of all, I mean, again, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, you can ask here. If not, happy to answer any questions offline. We keep doing a lot of these webinars. If you want to see a demo of the product, happy to set up a demo of the product for you. Um, there seems to be one more question. Gil, can you explain how you connect into the automation process? So it's seamless, Gil. The automation, the front end and the back end is seamless. There is everything within the product works as a microservice, right? Like, so, using APIs, every different part of the product connect using APIs. And the front and the back is just seamless connection, right? So for the employee, they don't even know that this is an automation. When they ask a question, as an employee, when you ask a question, you don't even know what is going to happen. It is possible the bot will just give an answer to your question. Fantastic, and you're happy with that. Maybe the bot will just create a ticket for you. Maybe you're okay with that. Maybe bot is just going to do some task for you, right? Or maybe bot will kick off a process for you. It will say it's a long process. This is not something that you can do right away, right? But I've kicked off the process for you, and I'm going to keep on top of it, and I'm going to tell you how that process is going. So it can be different scenarios. And the beautiful thing is that for an employee, the experience, uh, you know, um, experience keeps improving, right? Today you came to the bot and it did a few things for you. Tomorrow you went and did some more, and in 5 days you went and it did even more. So for you, it is an experience that is seamlessly changing behind the scene, and you don't have to worry about as an employee. It's a delightful experience for you. Any other questions? Well, fantastic. I think we are done for today. Thank you so much for everyone for attending. I hope you found it interesting. Reach out to us if you want to see the product in more detail, and appreciate your time. Thank you so much.